Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to have videos, another paid request, this time from DavieVids, one of two. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 1995 film Jacko, which I think back in the day there was some news program that was like a new horror film is being made, and this was actually on the news. Probably the only big publicity this film ever got. But yeah, Jacko is one of those films that maybe you saw the cover of the film back in the day. It's not a bad cover. It's not even a bad looking monster for a low budget slasher. It's pretty much what it is. It's just everything else is dirty D's done dirt cheap and poorly. It shits for the birds. Whenever I think of Jacko, I remember back to the day when Netflix was still the mail order thing. I remember, because I think there was there's a time I had it for a bit, and it was like, okay, you get this, you pay once, all these movies come in. So okay, Jacko, alright, never seen it, check out the DVD. Even if I don't like the film, I like watching special features or commentaries to learn more about how low budget fare is made. And pieces of the commentary are up on YouTube. This has one of the craziest commentaries because pretty much the producer was Fred Olen Ray. The director, I forget the director's name, but they've known each other for years, but it's pretty much Fred Olen Ray giving the director shit. As a, well, the director's like, well, we only had enough money, we only had a certain amount of time, and just Fred Olen Ray just, hey, yeah, I mean, I liked the film, but, and then just chides him about, well, why did this guy leave the porch light on? He said he was going to, turn off the porch light, then he saw these kids, and he goes back to the house, and he never turns the porch lights off, or, have you ever seen someone put toilet paper over a house? They don't just throw the whole roll and leave the whole roll there. And just kneeling the director. And then the director is like, I remember there's one review that calls this movie a shit pickle. Shit pickle. It wasn't James Rolfe. I don't think that was around when that DVD came out. And then at one point the director leaves the commentary and is pissed off. Now some say that it was all staged, it was all an act. To just, hey, it's a commentary, why not? Some say it was real, some say it was the two friends, but I don't know what it was. But it does make for an interesting, awkward, and pretty funny listen. Again, if you type up Jacko commentary, you'll find it eventually. And at least the best of bits. Why is this shower scene here? Well, we had to put a shower, Fred. Yeah, but couldn't you put it in like a bit better, something that make a little bit more sense? So the commentary is much better than the movie, is what I'm getting at. That's why I spent the first 3 fucking minutes talking about the commentary. I mean, it may be worth buying the movie, wherever it at, just to listen to the full commentary. But the movie itself, bad acting across the board, except maybe one, which I'll get to. It's trying to tell a story where in flashback, this wizard was stopped, but he cursed this family, and the father went out to get some justice done, get her done. And the kid's like watching the dad go, but it's one of those directing fails where the kid turns to watch and the camera stays there for too long. Because the kid turns. Okay, imagine the dad's going this way. The kid turns. Like too many extra minutes that which should have been cut sooner. But because the film is so short anyway, it's like they couldn't do that. So a lot of little screw-ups like that. Or we're in present time, and the kid, played by the same actor who was the kid in the flashback years and years and years ago, and he's supposed to be like, I think, some of the descendants. he sees the Pumpkin Man, our main villain. Then he wakes up, so it's a dream within a dream. But when he wakes up, he's supposed to wake up all scared, but he kind of wakes up like this. Like he's just bored out of his fucking mind. And the kid is played by the director's son. I think that was a big mistake. That was a big mistake. Because I'm sorry, Mr. Director, your son could not act. He was that actor. He was that natural actor. Maybe you felt, well, kids are hard to deal with. It's hard to train. It's hard to control. But my son, at least he'll do what I say because I'm his dad. But at the same time, you're putting your son into the Legion of Fire that critics or viewers could throw as many darts and projectiles as possible at the movie, and your son's now a walking target because of that. And, whatever barbs or whatever ridicule, whatever snide remarks, and I wouldn't want to subject my kid to that. I'm not saying to bully the kid. I'm saying people would be like, I didn't care for it. Or I didn't think he gave a good performance. Because I don't think he did. At all. He's one of the main stars of the movie. So that same kid one day stops this bully and this other girl from throwing rocks at this supposed witch's car. And the lady, hey, thank you for doing that. Helps the kid up. And they'll go from the kid having these weird dreams and visions, which sometimes will include people like John Carradine, which that guy is an actor that was decades and decades acted. He was in over 100 movies. He was always especially a lot of these lousy films, he would pop up for like 2-3 minutes. Here, it looked like footage. I think it is footage from another movie. Because when it touches John Carradine's face, he's never in the same scene as anybody. And you tell the footage is dramatically older. As in like 30 fucking years older. Like it does look like footage from the 60s, maybe the 70s. I would go with the 70s. Like you just tell that the footage is much more rougher. Or like antiquated, I should say. And then when it's the other side, when the character's supposed to be in the frame with other characters, it's just someone in a black cloak. So you don't see his face. So John Carradine stock footage they put in. And he's saying stuff like, don't resist me. I'm like, what? What's he talking? What's this wizard? What the fuck he is talking about? Don't resist me. Like, what does he want from this kid? Truthfully? At least, don't resist what? So it's either that kid doing that, or talking with his mom and dad as they're trying to get Halloween decorations up, because it does take place in Halloween season. Or you have these three folks looking for a cemetery. And this is what I'm talking about with the editing. Three folks are looking in a cemetery. Then it randomly cuts to Linnea Quigley from Night of the Demons, others in a shower. Got some titties. I love the titties. I like Linnea Quigley. Can't complain too much. But it's literally three people looking at the cemetery. Cut to titties. Then cut to they're right back in the cemetery. It's like the most awkward, clunky way to put in a shower scene. I mean, if it was like she's supposed to be like a babysitter, oh, I don't know about that, but like, oh, let me get cleaned up. Just say I gotta clean myself up. Then you could cut to the shower scene. So I mean, something a little bit more smoother transition. Or fine, just have the movie open up at a titty shower scene as well. So pretty much, because the wizard was defeated long ago, he cursed his family and he let loose this figure named Jacko, which back in the day, the father back in the day, this father guy, not padre but a dad, hit Jacko with a cross and buried it. And this kid has a lot of fucking visions. I mean, there's more visions in this than a Wes Craven film. And also the ADR at times. Once in a while, there'll be ADR where you'll hear a character breathe, but the breath is like so much louder. Like, imagine all the noise, then someone in your ear going, like ASMR shit. And at times it's like we don't have the audio for the other stuff, so let's put in someone extra breathing, extra loud. Now Jacko comes back. I don't mind the look of the creature. You know, it's got the pumpkin head, and it's not bad looking for a straight-to-video movie that probably costs 18 cents to make. Does kill people. You don't see a lot of gore. It's another negative. Once we see a little bit, it do this, and someone gets maybe a little bit of blood here, or a little bit of blood on their neck, or a little bit of blood you see on their head. Sometimes it's like cutaways. So I think you don't see a whole lot. I pretty much it's Linnea Quigley either babysitting this kid and then has to take the lead kid trick-or-treating, or the parents talking with that one lady the kid helped that was called the witch, and they're dealing with the decorations, or Jacko go around killing some random people, whether it be some asshole neighbors or some other random folks, or some of Linnea Quigley's friends. And like once in a while you see a little bit of gore. There is a decapitation, which is funny because when you see the head roll and stop, the head looks like Nicolas Cage. It does look like Nicolas Cage's head. But yeah, all I could do is mention the random stuff I know as well watching this film. Linnea Quigley, she meant it another way, but the way it's done makes it sound a lot more awkward than it is. Where she all of a sudden goes that she likes little boys. Now, obviously, it was meant to say that, you know, she's a babysitter, she cares, but she's like, little boy. Comes off as a horrible, different way nowadays with that type of line. You have some people that's been in other horror and other exploitation fare like Brent Stevens and Cameron Mitchell. They're here on a TV, which is probably footage from other movies, but they were able to use it, or it was outtakes or whatever. So just put in there so that we can mark and go, we got Brent Stevens and we got Cameron Mitchell from the Toolbox Murders and we got all these people. When they had really nothing to do with it, it's just we got their footage and here you go, you get to see it. Yeah, these two prickly neighbors that always complain about the kids. And that's the bit where they complain, you didn't turn off the porch light? So what the guy goes out to complain to the kids, and he goes back down, and he never ends up turning off the porch light anyway. And the kids try to TP the place, and they can't do it because they throw the entire fucking roll. And that's where they get killed by Jacko, where Jacko stabs the guy with the scythe. The woman... And that's the thing, if this movie was trying to be more of a comedy, maybe it could work better. Does this seem like it was trying to be comedic, this scene, where she's scared, she tries to do something, and she accidentally electrocutes herself on the toaster. She grabs something like a knife or something, she trips, it falls into the toaster, she fries. And really bad special effects. And they're trying to do these kind of cutaways that show that her body's been burned, like, and like a cut, and then like more of a dummy that's more zombie dummy. It looks ridiculous. It could probably get a laugh from people. Linnea Quigley is the one actress I think is trying, because it's kind of nice to see her as a good guy or a good girl who is trying to do the right thing, trying to act decently with the kid. And to be honest, she's probably the best actor in the movie. And when Linnea Quigley's the best actor or actress in the movie, that's kind of saying something. I kind of wish there was more of her. But I mean, she's not a bad guy. She doesn't get possessed. She doesn't get killed. So, kind of a rare role for Linnea Quigley, but when she's trick or treating with the kid, she gets knocked out by Jacko, and then she doesn't show back up until the movie's over. When now she's awake and, oh, you're okay. So I wish Linnea Quigley had more to do, because then she was the only one trying with the acting. And at times the plot just seems aimless. It's like going over here, then it's going over here, and it's going over here. There's no big drive, there's no big direction, there's no focus. Until ultimately, the kid, after Jacko's killed a few more people, and then killed one of Linnea Quigley's, I think one of her friend's boyfriend, he got the recap, the decap, so to speak. Then the neighbor's been killed, few been killed off screen. Jacko takes the kid, the mom, the dad, and the wannabe, the witch, I think her name was Vivian. They follow. Vivian finds them first as the kid is put into his grave, and like Jacko's trying to dig with a scythe, which a scythe, I don't know if you know what a scythe is, like what a Grim Reaper has. It's not really good for digging. I mean, it's like he's trying to gulf the shit in, and the kid's like, no, don't, and like waving his hands, and he's in like this tall of a grave. And then like, at one point, I guess he's buried. Then obviously he comes back, but it just looks ridiculous and clunky, and I don't know how else to explain it. So Vivian goes up to Jacko and says, go back to hell. And Jacko doesn't say this, but he gives his look like, you first, bitch. Hits her. Probably the death that works, I guess, the best. Because not only does he stab her, but he lifts her up, and you kind of see from behind, like coming out of her back as she's lifted up. I'm like, that's a decent death scene. Makes me wonder why aren't all the death scenes this decent, but, you know. Instead, the kid yells. The mom and dad try to help. The dad and the kid work together. They impale Jacko with that same cross. And it blows up in this really bad effects that's kind of, what do you call it? Like, it's an explosion, but it's like a morphine effect as well. It's just really cheap looking. And then Linnea Quigley and her friend Julie come back, and they're alive, and which is funny, the two women that showed their titties throughout the film live. So, yeah, that was a little bit refreshing. You have a decent monster. There's no sequel bait ending. I didn't have my Linnea Quigley or her titties, but she's absent for the big important part of the movie, so that hurt. And the rest of the acting is very bad, very wooden. The plot is aimless. The blood is minuscule. Maybe this is one of the films you can watch, you laugh at, but that's the best you get out of it. Or if you get the movie to listen to the commentary where either they're joking the whole time and being, playing up for the audience, or the producer really does piss off the director so much that he fucking leaves the commentary. I think he might come back later in the commentary, but it's been forever since I've listened to the full commentary. I don't own the film. I watched it somewhere else, so I don't own it. And there's the best of on YouTube. But yeah, Jacko ain't much of jack shit. Bit surprise, right? With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.